The joke that crossed the line. The snow never stopped falling on the outpost planet called Cathar. It was cold, quiet, and filled with soldiers from many species. They were here to keep peace after a long war. Among them was a human soldier named Kai. He was known for two things: good aim and bad jokes. Kai didn't care where someone came from. To him, if you were a soldier, you were family. But some of the aliens didn't understand human jokes, especially the beastkin. Beastkin were strong, tall, and covered in fur. They had sharp claws, glowing eyes, and spoke little. One of them, a female soldier named Shira, had just joined Kai's unit. She was silent, serious, and deadly. Everyone kept their distance, even the tough guys. But Kai didn't believe in fear. During the evening meal, he noticed Shira sitting alone chewing raw meat. She looked up once and stared right at him. Her golden eyes didn't blink. Kai grinned and nudged his friend beside him. "I bet beast women get lonely too," he said, loud enough for others to hear. "Maybe I should offer myself as a cuddle buddy." The room went silent. Shira stood up. Her plate still had meat, but she left it. She walked slowly across the hall, stopped beside Kai's table, and looked down at him. Everyone watched. She didn't speak. Her nostrils flared. She leaned in close and whispered something in a language Kai didn't understand. Then, she growled, very softly, and walked away. Kai laughed nervously. "I think she liked it," he said. But inside, he felt something strange. Her eyes didn't show anger. They showed something else. Something wild. Later that night, Kai sat in his bunk, trying to forget the awkward moment. He was about to sleep when someone knocked on his door. It was quiet but heavy. He opened it. Shira stood there towering over him, her fur still damp from the snow. She looked calm, almost curious. "Can I help you?" Kai asked. She stepped into the room without waiting. Her eyes locked on his. "You joked," she said slowly in broken English, "but your scent said true." Kai blinked. "What?" "You called," she said. "I answer?" He stepped back. "Wait, hold on. That was just a joke. I was kidding." She tilted her head. "In my clan, words like that are not joke. You offered yourself. I accept." Kai's heart started racing. "Listen, you misunderstood. Humans say silly things. It doesn't mean anything serious." She stepped closer. "To me, it means everything." Kai tried to stay calm. "Okay, maybe we should talk to the commander." Shira's ears twitched. "No need. The claim is made. I follow. I protect. Until death." "Claim," Kai repeated. "You think we're mates?" She nodded once. "Yes." Kai sat down on the edge of his bed. This was a nightmare, or a dream. He wasn't sure. "Look," he said, "you're strong. You're brave. But I didn't mean it that way." Shira didn't move. "I understand. But I do not change." She turned to leave. Before walking out, she paused at the door. "I will be near," she said. "Call if danger comes." Then she was gone. Kai stared at the door, confused and worried. He thought the moment would pass, but he was wrong. The next day, Shira stood behind him during morning training. She walked beside him during patrol. She sat near him during meals. She never spoke much, but her golden eyes watched everyone who came close to Kai. Some soldiers laughed, others whispered. "Dude, I think she's guarding you," one human joked. "You bonded with a beast woman," another said. "How are you still alive?" Kai tried to explain. It was just a joke, but the aliens didn't see it that way. Beastkin didn't joke, and they didn't follow anyone, unless it was for life. Kai started to feel something else. Not fear, not annoyance, or something like guilt. She wasn't doing this to play games. To her, it was real. And the worst part, he didn't mind her being there. Not really. Unwanted attention. Kai woke up to the sound of heavy footsteps outside his room. When he opened the door, Shira was already standing there, arms crossed, eyes scanning the hallway like a guard protecting a king. "Shira," You were here all night? Kai asked, rubbing his eyes. She nodded. Yes. Danger moves when the weak sleep. Kai sighed. I'm not weak. She stared at him. Not to me, but others may test. He didn't know what that meant, but he felt too tired to argue. He grabbed his gear and headed to training. As always, Shira walked 2 steps behind, silent and alert. But now, everyone noticed. During weapons drills, the other soldiers made space for Kai, not out of respect, but fear. Shira's golden eyes followed their every move. If anyone raised their voice at Kai, she growled softly. If someone stepped too close, her claws flexed. The commander called Kai into his office. Soldier, he said, what's going on with the beastkin? Kai explained the joke, the misunderstanding, and how he tried to clear it up. The commander leaned back, looking tired. Beastkin culture is ancient. Once a warrior declares a claim, it cannot be broken without blood. You may have joked, but she sees you as her bonded. Kai laughed nervously. So what, she thinks I'm her husband? Mate, the commander corrected. They don't marry like us, but yes, to her. You belong together now. Kai stood up. So what do I do? You survive, the commander said, and don't ever betray her. Beastkin vengeance is a fire that never dies. Kai left the office feeling cold. Outside, he saw Shira waiting again. Do you always stand like that? He asked. Yes. I watch. Don't you get tired? She looked at him with soft eyes. Never. Not when I guard my mate. Kai groaned. You really don't get it. But part of him, a small part, didn't want her to stop. That night, trouble arrived. A group of alien soldiers from a different faction arrived at the outpost. Tall, lean, and with skin like stone, they looked down on humans and beastkin alike. During the mess hall meal, one of them, a soldier named Venek, sneered at Kai and laughed. Is that your pet? Venek said loudly. Or do you wear a leash when she mounts you? The room froze. Kai stood up, fists clenched. Back off. Venek laughed harder. I'm just saying. Maybe we should try the beastkin too. Let's see if she growls for me. He stepped toward Shira, her head tilted slightly. Her body didn't move. Kai raised his hand. Shira, don't. Too late. Shira moved like lightning. Her clawed hand slammed Venek against the metal wall, lifting him off the ground with one arm. Her eyes burned like suns. You speak death, she said. You smell like rot. 3 more alien soldiers jumped up, drawing weapons. Kai jumped in front of her. Shira, stop, let him go. She didn't move. Kai stepped closer and touched her arm. Please. Her breathing slowed. She dropped Venek, who hit the floor choking. Next time, she growled, I tear. She walked away, claws still ready. The commander stormed in seconds later, demanding answers. Kai lied, saying it was just a misunderstanding. He took the blame. Later that night, Shira stood outside his door again. You protected me, she said. Kai looked at her. No. I stopped you from killing someone. Same. No, it's not, Kai said. If you kill someone here, they'll send you away, or worse. Then I will die near you, she said calmly. Kai's voice dropped. Why are you doing this? She stepped closer. Because I see truth in you. You are kind, soft but strong. And when you joked, I saw hope. Kai sat down, feeling confused. Hope? My people were made for war, but we feel love too. No one jokes with us, no one laughs. You did. Her words felt heavy. I didn't mean to give you hope, Kai said quietly. Shira nodded. But you did. And now I carry it. The base was silent that night. But Kai couldn't sleep. Outside, Shira stood in the snow, her eyes always watching. And in the shadows of the base, the ones who hated beastkin and humans whispered plans. Someone didn't want them alive. The test of the claw. The cold wind howled outside the outpost walls. Snow danced like ghosts, and deep within the frozen woods, something moved. something ancient, wild and watching. Kai didn't know that a new danger was coming. All he knew was that things had changed since the fight in the mess hall. Now no one mocked him. No one dared speak badly about Shira. But that silence wasn't peace, it was fear. Kai could feel it in the way people looked at him, like he was no longer human, like he was something strange, something bonded to a monster. And in their eyes, monsters didn't belong. Shira followed him as always, but now her gaze was sharper, her movements quicker. She didn't just protect him, she was preparing for something. On the third morning after the fight, a message arrived. A beastkin elder had come. Her name was Mahraka, and she walked into the outpost like a storm in fur. Even the commander stepped aside when she entered. Her long claws were decorated with silver bones. Her eyes were ancient fire. Shira bowed low when she saw her. Kai stood frozen. Mahraka looked at him, then at Shira. "Is this your chosen?" she asked. Shira nodded. "Yes, elder. Then the test must be taken. The bond must be proven by claw." Kai blinked. "What test? What does that mean?" Mahraka turned to him. "You carry her heart, human. But her people do not accept words. They accept blood. If she fails, she is unworthy. If she dies, her claim dies with her." Kai stepped forward. "Wait, this is all a misunderstanding. I didn't mean to start any of this," Mahraka growled. "Intent means nothing. The bond is made. Only the test decides truth." "And what's the test?" Kai asked, already fearing the answer. Shira spoke softly. "I must hunt the ancient fang. Alone." Kai looked at her in shock. "You'll die," Shira smiled. "Then I will die proving I was yours." Before he could argue more, she was gone. No armor, no rifle, and just her claws, her instincts, and her will. She walked into the frozen jungle, vanishing between the trees. Kai paced for hours. Then hours became a full day. Then 2. Then 3. On the 4th night, the alarms blared. Everyone rushed to the gates. Snow blew in hard as a shadow emerged from the storm. Shira. She limped forward, covered in blood and scratches. Across her back was the massive head of a fanged beast, its mouth still frozen in a snarl. Kai ran to her, heart pounding. She dropped the beast's head at the elder's feet. Mahraka nodded once. "She is true." But Shira didn't look at Mahraka. She looked at Kai. "I have proven myself," she whispered, swaying. Kai caught her before she fell. He carried her inside. Doctors from several species came to treat her. Her wounds were deep. 3 broken ribs, a dislocated shoulder, and dozens of cuts, yet she never cried out once. Kai sat beside her, holding her hand. "Why did you do this?" he asked again. Shira opened her eyes weakly. "Because I had nothing, and you gave me a reason to fight." Kai felt something shift in his chest. He thought it was guilt, but maybe it was something more. The next day, a message arrived. Command wanted Kai transferred to another outpost. They feared Shira's loyalty had become dangerous. Kai refused. They ordered again. He still refused. That night, he told Shira. She sat up slowly, still weak, but her eyes burned bright. "They want to break the bond," she said. Kai nodded. "I won't let them." Shira stood, swaying but proud. "Then we fight." Kai laughed quietly. "You're still healing." "I heal fast," she said, "and no one takes what is mine." But outside their room, 2 soldiers listened. They didn't like what they heard. They didn't trust Beastkin, and they didn't believe Kai was thinking straight. They whispered into hidden comms, and miles away, someone received their message. Someone powerful. "Remove the human." The voice said coldly. "And if the beast resists, end her." In the dark corners of the outpost, death was already moving. The bond deepens. The snow outside turned darker that night. It wasn't just the weather. Something else hung heavy in the air, like the sky itself held its breath. Inside the medical bay, Kai sat beside Shira. gently wiping dried blood from her fur. She slept lightly, her breathing slow but steady. Kai didn't know why he stayed. It wasn't just guilt anymore. It wasn't just confusion. It was something deeper, a pull he couldn't explain. He had joked once, but what grew from that joke had become something real. When Shira opened her eyes, Kai smiled. "You're awake," she looked at him. "You stayed." "I always do," he said softly. Shira reached for his hand and held it firmly. "Then I will always protect." For the first time, Kai didn't try to pull away. The next day they walked together again. The bruises on her body hadn't faded, but her pride was stronger than pain. As they passed other soldiers, most turned away, not out of disrespect, but out of fear. Even the commander kept his distance. Something had changed since the ritual. Shira was no longer seen as just a beastwoman. She was seen as a warrior who killed an ancient predator with her bare hands, all for a human. Kai felt the weight of it. But with that respect came danger. Rumors spread. Some said Kai had cast a spell. Others said Shira had broken beastkin law by bonding with a soft blood. The outpost was becoming a nest of whispers, and someone wanted Kai gone, or dead. That evening during training, Kai and Shira sparred together. Their moves were fast, sharp like a dance of instincts. Soldiers stopped to watch. At the edge of the field, 3 strangers arrived, new soldiers from command. Tall, armored, and quiet. They didn't speak much, but they watched everything. Kai noticed. Shira noticed too. "They do not belong," she said. "They're from command," Kai replied. "Probably here to watch us." Shira growled low. "They bring knives." Later that night, a message was slipped under Kai's door. "You are the weakness. Step down, or she will fall." Kai read it twice. He showed it to Shira. She didn't speak. She simply stood and sharpened her claws. The next day, they went on patrol together through the outer fences. It was supposed to be a routine check. But as soon as they entered the snowy ravine, the ambush came. Explosives shook the ground. 2 of the new soldiers fired from above. Kai rolled for cover. One blast hit near his leg, tearing through flesh. He screamed. Shira roared. What followed was chaos. Shira's eyes burned with fury. She charged through gunfire like a storm. Her claws tore through armor. Her growls echoed across the ravine. One soldier tried to flee. Shira leaped and slammed him to the ground. "You touched my mate," she snarled, then crushed his weapon. Kai dragged himself behind a rock, bleeding and gasping. He heard more footsteps. Another enemy approached from behind. Before he could aim, Shira landed in front of him, shielded him with her body, and took the shot. Blood splattered the snow. Her blood. Kai cried out, "Shira!" She turned slowly, eyes burning gold. Then, she lunged and silence fell. Minutes passed. Kai pulled himself toward her. She was kneeling, breathing hard. The attackers were gone, either dead or running. She fell beside him, clutching her wound. "You're hurt," he said, tearing. "Fabric to stop the bleeding." "I am alive," she replied. "So are you." Kai touched her face. "Why do you keep doing this?" Shira's eyes locked onto his. "Because you saw me. Not the fur, not the claws. Just me. No one ever did that before." Kai held her hand tight. "You're not just a beast. You're the bravest person I've ever met." She smiled faintly. "You accept me?" Kai leaned in, forehead touching hers. "Yes, I do." Far away, command received a report. The ambush had failed. The bond had survived. And now even some beastkin elders were speaking in favor of the human. What began as a joke had turned into a legend in the making. But legends always have enemies. And one of them had just placed a silent bounty on Kai's head. Betrayal from within, the snowstorm outside raged like a living beast, hiding the stars and covering the outpost in silence. Inside, Kai limped through the hallway with Shira beside him. She refused medical help, insisting on guarding him herself. Her wound from the ambush had been deep, but her will was deeper. They had survived. But survival came at a price. Now they were targets. Rumors of what happened in the ravine spread like wildfire. Soldiers whispered that a human and a Beastwoman had killed trained command assassins. Some called it courage. Others called it treason. But in a dark room inside the command tower, Captain Rail, the highest-ranking human on the base, watched the reports with a clenched jaw. He should have died out there, he muttered. Beside him, a shadow moved. You gave us faulty intel, the alien agent said. They were ready. She fought like a wild god. No, Rail growled. He's the problem. She's just a weapon. Break him, and she breaks. The alien narrowed his eyes. You want him gone? No, Rail said. I want him shattered. The next morning, Kai and Shira were summoned to the central chamber. Commander Darvin stood in front of them, expression unreadable. Rail stood beside him, arms crossed. We've received orders from High Command, Darvin said. You're being reassigned. Kai blinked. Reassigned? To where? Another sector. Farther from the front. Less conflict, Rail answered with a cold smile. Kai stepped forward. You're trying to separate us. Darvin didn't respond. Shira growled. I go where he goes. Rail shook his head. Not this time. Beastkin are not allowed in the new sector. Then I don't go, Kai said. It's an order, soldier. Rail snapped. Kai looked at Shira, then turned to Darvin. And if I refuse? Darvin glanced at Rail. Then you'll be charged with insubordination. The silence that followed was heavy. Shira's claws flexed at her sides. Kai looked straight at them. Do it then. Charge me. Rail stepped closer, his voice low. You think this is a storybook, soldier? You think this ends with love and honor? No. She's an animal. You're just her toy. We're trying to save you. Shira snarled, but Kai held up his hand. Don't. Kai looked at Rail with cold eyes. You don't get to decide what she is. And you don't get to decide who I stand with. Rail's face twisted, in anger. Fine, you'll both rot in the cold. They left the chamber with their futures uncertain. The outpost no longer felt like a base. It felt like a cage. That night, Kai sat in silence. Shira stood near the window, watching the snow fall. They will try again, she said. Kai nodded. I know. Maybe we should run. No, Kai said. We stand. Suddenly the lights flickered. The alarms remained silent, but something was wrong. Kai grabbed his sidearm. Shira moved to the door, ears twitching. Then came the sound. Soft footsteps, too quiet for soldiers. They moved into the hallway. Shadows shifted. A soldier lay on the floor, unconscious. No blood. Just silence. Shira sniffed the air. Poison, she whispered. They are not here to scare. They reached the generator room and stopped. 3 masked figures stood around the power core, placing small black devices. Kai raised his weapon. Stop. One turned, surprised. Too slow. Shira leaped, claws flashing. 2 attackers ran, but one stayed and fought. He was fast, trained. He cut Shira across the arm, but she didn't stop. Kai tackled the second attacker and pulled off the mask. His heart stopped. It was one of the human engineers, a quiet man named Terran. You? Kai asked. Why? Terran smiled. You ruined everything. She was never supposed to be more than a beast, and you were just a joke. So you poisoned our rations? Kai growled. You planned a silent kill? Terran didn't answer. Shira stood over him now, breathing heavy, claws dripping. Do I end him? She asked Kai. Kai hesitated, but before he could decide, Commander Darvin appeared with security. They arrested Terran. The devices were bombs, enough to destroy half the base. Later, in the quiet of their room, Kai sat with his head in his hands. We're not safe here, he said. Not even among our own. Shira sat beside him. Then we make our own safety. How? Kai asked. We show them, she said. You are not weak. and I am not a beast. We are stronger than they fear." Kai looked into her golden eyes, and, for the first time, he felt something powerful awaken inside him. He was done running. He was done hiding. He would stand, not just for her, but with her. And together, they would make the galaxy remember that even a joke can start a war. Hunted, the cold of Cathar no longer bothered Kai, not because the snow had lessened, it hadn't, but because something inside him had hardened. Something silent, something sharp. Since the failed bombing, everything changed. Kai and Shira were watched more closely now. Some soldiers offered quiet nods of respect. Others avoided them completely, whispering about monsters and mind control. No one dared speak against them openly, not after what happened in the generator room. But fear had a way of growing in shadows, and those shadows were moving again. Commander Darvin called Kai to his office one morning. Riel wasn't there this time. His absence made Kai suspicious. Darvin looked tired, older than before. "I've received new orders," he said quietly. Kai didn't respond. "You and Shira are to be sent on a scout mission, recon only, Forest Sector Gamma, far from the base." Kai leaned forward. "Who gave the order?" "It came from Central Command," Darvin said, avoiding eye contact. Kai's stomach tightened. "This isn't a recon mission. It's an execution." Darvin didn't deny it. "I don't want this, but if I say no, they'll send someone else to do it." Kai stood. "Tell them to come, we're not afraid." Darvin looked up then. His eyes were sad. "Be afraid, soldier." This time, they sent hunters. 3 hours later, Kai and Shira stood at the edge of the dense frozen jungle. They weren't alone. 2 elite recon teams joined them, 6 soldiers in total, all from off-world, all strangers. They didn't speak much, but their eyes said everything. "They carry death?" Shira whispered. Kai nodded. "We stay alert." They moved into the trees. Snow fell thicker here, covering the ground like ash. The trees were tall and twisted, their branches sharp like claws. It was quiet. Too quiet. Shira kept her claws out. Her ears twitched with every sound. 1 hour passed, then 2. No signs of movement. No animals. No tech signals. Until one of the recon soldiers suddenly stopped. "Movement up ahead," he said. Kai looked at his tracker. "Nothing's on radar." But it was too late. The soldier fired into the trees. The others followed. A trap signal. A lie. Kai dove behind cover as the bullets flew. Shira leapt into the air, landing between him and the ambush. "They turn now," she growled. "As planned." "We run," Kai said. "No," Shira replied. "We fight." The forest became. War Shira moved like a storm. Her claws tore through armor. Her roars echoed between the trees. The snow turned red. Kai used every trick he'd learned, setting traps, using shadows, stealing weapons off the dead. But the attackers were trained. They moved in formation. One of them carried a heat-seeking drone that forced Kai and Shira into the open. They were being herded, pushed toward something. "They're not trying to kill us," Kai realized. "They're trying to force us into a kill zone." "Or a cage," Shira said. A blast exploded nearby, throwing Kai to the ground. His head spun. Through blurry eyes, he saw her, Shira, fighting off 3 soldiers at once. Blood poured down her arm. She didn't stop. One soldier aimed at her back. Kai didn't think. He ran forward and tackled him. The 2 tumbled down a slope, crashing into ice. Kai punched. Again. Again. The soldier stopped moving. Kai stumbled back up the slope. When he reached the top, everything had changed. Shira was on her knees, breathing heavily, surrounded by 5 attackers. They were ready to end it. Kai raised his rifle. "Step away from her." No one moved. Then came a slow, clapping sound. A new figure walked out from the trees. Tall, armored in black, face covered. "You must be the human," the figure said. "The one she follows." Kai aimed his weapon. "And you must be the coward who sent others to do his killing." The figure laughed. We gave you chances. We told you to break the bond, but you refused. So now, we end it." He raised his hand. The attackers moved in. Kai screamed, "Shira!" She looked up, eyes glowing gold. Then, she roared. The force of it shook the trees. Her body moved faster than anything they expected. Claws found necks, bones shattered. Screams echoed. Kai fought beside her, side by side. Back to back, within minutes the forest was silent again. The figure in black stood alone now. "So be it," he said, drawing twin blades. But before he could strike, Shira was already in front of him. The fight was short, and when it ended the figure lay in the snow, his mask cracked, eyes wide with disbelief. Kai stood over him. "You tried to tear us apart. You only made us stronger." The man's last words were bitter. "The galaxy will never accept you." Kai looked at Shira. "Then, we'll make our own place." They returned to base, wounded but standing. Darvin met them in silence. "I'll file the mission as successful," he said. Kai nodded. "And the traitors?" Darvin glanced at the walls. "Many are gone. Some still hide." Kai placed his hand on Shira's. "We'll find them," Shira whispered. "They hunted us, but now we hunt them." Her mate, her war the snow on Cathar never melted, but something else had changed. Something deeper than the ice. Kai and Shira were no longer seen as strange or dangerous. They had become something the soldiers whispered about in their tents, something the younger recruits secretly admired. The bond between a human and a Beastwoman was once called unnatural. Now, it was called unbreakable. But Command hadn't forgotten. A final message arrived, encrypted and urgent. "The Council will arrive in 3 days. The bond will be judged. Punishment will be delivered." Kai read the message twice. Shira didn't speak. She simply turned to the window and stared out at the frozen land. "They come to break us," she said. "They come to make us an example." Kai nodded. "Then let them come." 3 days later, a ship larger than any the outpost had ever seen landed on the edge of the mountain range. From it emerged the High Council, 5 members from 5 different species, each wearing armor made from the bones of their ancestors. They didn't shake hands. They didn't smile. They entered, the main hall like judges walking into an execution chamber. The soldiers lined up in silence. The commander stood still, face tight. Kai and Shira waited at the center side by side. The lead counselor, a thin creature with silver skin and 6 eyes, spoke first. "We have reviewed your actions," he said, "and your bond. We don't need your approval," Kai said calmly. The hall gasped. The counselor ignored him. "The Beastwoman has broken tribal code. The human has defied military law. Together, you represent chaos." Shira stepped forward. "I do not belong to code. I belong to him." Kai reached for her hand. "And I belong to her. This ends now," another counselor growled. "You will both be separated. He will be reassigned. She will be taken to face judgment by her kin." "No," Kai said. "We choose each other." The counselor laughed. "Your choice is not yours to make." But before he could speak again, a sound filled the hall. Slow, heavy footsteps. A figure stepped through the doors. Maraka, the ancient beastkin elder, had returned. The soldiers bowed. She walked straight to the council. "You speak of laws," she said, "but our laws are not chains. They are roots. And this bond, it is not weakness. It is a new tree." "We do not answer to tribal blood," one of the counselors hissed. "No," Maharaka replied, "but you will answer to truth." She raised her clawed hand, and behind her more beastkin arrived, dozens of them, warriors, elders, even some younglings, and with them came humans, soldiers, officers, even a few who had once feared the bond. "You tried to erase us," Kai said to the council, "but look around. We are not alone." The counselor looked shaken now. "You stand against the order of the galaxy." Kai looked at Shira. "No," he said. We stand for what the galaxy forgot: honor, loyalty, love. The hall erupted, with voices, some in support, some in outrage. And then, the unexpected happened. The commander stepped forward. "I side with them," he said. One by one, soldiers stepped forward too. Human, beastkin, even other species. The council had the law, but Kai and Shira had the people. The council left in silence that day, unable to use force, unable to hold power in a place that no longer obeyed fear. Soon, after, the story of Kai and Shira spread across the systems. Some laughed at first, the tale of a human who joked and found a beast for a mate, but that joke had shaken the walls of power. Other beastkin began choosing their own mates. Other humans began to see past fur and claws. An alliance formed not by treaty but by bond. And Kai? He stayed on Cathar, not as a soldier but as something more. A symbol, a mate, a warrior of peace. Shira stood at his side, forever silent, forever watching. "Do you still joke?" she asked him once beneath the stars. Kai smiled. "Only with you," she purred. "Then I will never leave." And she never did. Not for duty. Not for law. Not even for death. Because some bonds, born in laughter, sealed in battle, are the kind the stars remember forever. The end.